Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. August has come and gone, and it's time to do a wrap-up video of the 4 books that I read this month. I only read 4, which is fine, whatever. The books that I read were pretty good, and I started school, so it's fine. I don't know what it is about summer, but I think I read less in the summer and more during the school year, and I don't know if it's because I don't know. It seems backwards, right? Anyway, the first book that I read this month was Straight On Till Morning by KJ Sutton. I read this as we were driving back from Jekyll Island. And so we went like down and across the panhandle of Florida and then like back up to Iowa. So it was like 3 full days of driving, and that allowed me to read a lot. So Straight On Till Morning is an adult retelling of Peter Pan. Peter Pan and Wendy are about like 19 years old, and Wendy's younger brother is sick and dying, and so she's been trying to sell off things, trying to get money. Their family's going bankrupt, and she's trying to save her little brother. Anyway, Peter comes and takes her away to Neverland. Also, I just want to warn you guys, this is pretty smutty if that's not your thing. Like it starts off at first, like the first chapter or 2, I was like, oh my gosh, is this going to be how the entire book is? It's not. There are smutty scenes, but it's not the entire book. But Peter takes her away, and she actually is approached by Peter's mom to kill him, which is interesting. So she goes to Neverland intending to kill him and find a cure for her younger brother. So there, of course, everything happens. You meet the Lost Boys, you meet it's a really interesting take on it. I actually really enjoyed it. There's like people that are living on this island that you actually get to meet, and it's not like any other Peter Pan telling I've ever heard. Like I don't remember other people ever living on in Neverland. There's some cool creatures. The fairies are really interesting. Like her take on Tinkerbell is very unique, and I absolutely love it. Actually, I love it a lot. And it's funny. I thought Peter was I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. Yeah, I won't say that. I don't want to like spoil anything in case people had like the same thought process as me about Peter. Anyway, you meet Captain Hook, and it's so unique. It's very interesting. I actually really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 out of 5. I don't remember why. Gosh, that was like a month ago. But I really, really loved it. It was good. But yeah, that was a good one to read. I had a lot of fun reading that one. I read that on my Kindle, and so I don't know how many pages it is. So moving on, after that book, I needed to read a book for my first day of class. So I ended up reading Amari and the Night Brothers, which was our required reading, and I absolutely love this book. I had intended to read it anyway. It was on my TBR. And when I saw that I needed to read it for the first day of class, I ordered it, and voila, here it is. It's amazing. This is a great story. It's like, it really is kind of, okay, we talked about this in class, and so I'm sorry that I'm bringing it up here, but some people were kind of annoyed with people comparing it to Harry Potter, and I don't hate that comparison. I feel like it's fine. I mean, it's obviously not completely parallel, but I did see a lot of similarities between them. Some people in the class compared it to like Percy Jackson, which I've actually personally never read. That is one that I want to read maybe this year. We'll see. But it is one that I really want to read. And yeah, so I don't know what Percy Jackson is like, so maybe if that's something that you would relate to. They were saying it's kind of similar. Basically, it's just about this young girl who has been living a normal life. She's been going to a prep school, and her brother was working with this job that they had like no idea. And it turns out he was working for the Supernatural, Supernatural something Bureau. The Bureau of Supernatural Affairs. And so that's a new thing. And she has been nominated for their summer camp. So she goes and she learns all about these supernatural people living within the world, everyday people that she had no idea were just out and about. So she goes to this camp and finds out that she is a magician, which is actually illegal in the supernatural world, which is very interesting. You would think that they wouldn't be, but they're very feared, they're criminalized, looked very down upon. And so this book in general was really good at kind of paralleling profiling with Black people, because the main character is Black, and in her prep school, like she's there on scholarship, so people are very like bullying to her, very mean girls, and kind of similar in the summer camp because she's there on merit. She's not like a legendary student or whatever, but it's just, this story is absolutely fantastic. I gave this 5 stars. This is the first in a series. However, this just came out in January, I think. So we have to wait till February for the next book, which is depressing. I'm sad. But it was really, 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 really good. I highly recommend this to everyone of all ages. Yes, this is technically a children's book. Please read it anyway. It is fantastic. And if you like magic and like it's just funny. Like, if you like magic, read this. I did a whole reading vlog on this. I seriously could go on and on about this book. I absolutely love it. There are were-dragons. There are elevators with personalities. It's just, you guys, it's so good. Please read it. Okay, so the next book that I read, These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. I told you guys I've been wanting to read this forever, and I finally did, and this was also really good. This is the first, I think it's going to be, I think it's only going to be a duology. I'm not 100% sure. But it is a Romeo and Juliet retelling set in 1920 Shanghai. Roma Montagov and Juliet Kai. Anyway, they are part of these rival gangs set in Shanghai, and they have a history, which is interesting because I don't think Romeo and Juliet and Shakespeare have a history. I think they meet at the masquerade and that's it, love at first sight. Anyway, Roma and Juliet have a history, which is super interesting, and it's just really fun. This was really good. This is such a unique take. So in Shanghai, currently in this book, there is a monster in the Huangpu River. Is that what it is? Huangpu River, yeah. So there's a monster in the Huangpu River, and nobody really knows what it is, but it kind of lets out these infectious things that get into people's heads, and then it causes them to tear their throats out. So there's like this kind of whole mystery going on, and it causes Roma and Juliet to team up, and very, very, very slow burn, almost to the point where it's annoying. I'm like, please just kiss or something. But I think I gave it a 4 out of 5, just because for me it was a little slow. And I don't know. I was like dragging myself reading it. But the story itself is awesome. The characters are great. I really enjoy the side characters in this book, which is kind of interesting for me. I usually love main characters, but I really, really enjoyed the side characters in this. So, really good book. I cannot wait for Our Violent Ends to come out because I need some answers. The final book that I read in August was Not a Happy Family by Shari Lapena. This is a thriller. This was my book of the month choice for this month, sorry. And I gave this 3 stars. There's promise. There was potential. But all the characters, you guys, I didn't like a single character in this book. Not one. There was not one single character that I liked in this book. And I think that might actually be the point of it. The idea of this book is that there's this family having Easter. The dad is an absolute a-hole, totally mean to his children. It's very petty towards his children, but is a millionaire, like multi-millionaire. Easter dinner happens. He tells them some stuff that makes them mad. All the kids leave. And then later that night, him and his wife are found murdered in their home. Well, not later that night, they're found. A couple days later, they're found having been murdered in their home. So the whole time during this book, we're trying to figure out who murdered. Was it the kids? Was it the cleaning lady? Was it his sister? Was it his bastard child? Like, you don't know. And each kid, like, could have done it. Like, they all hated their parents so much, especially the dad. They all had motives. They all could have done it. And they all had, like, it's just really interesting. They all didn't, I mean, they didn't really have alibis, or not good alibis. It just made it was very difficult to figure out who did it. I couldn't figure out who did it. Even at the end, it was just kind of a weird ending, and like it kind of left it open-ended. You know who did it technically, but it's kind of just kind of ended. And I hated the dead dad's sister. Oh my gosh, she was a total Karen. The kids weren't great either. Their spouses weren't that great. There was one spouse that I liked, Ted. He was probably the character I liked the most, but I didn't like any single character. Not one. Not even the detectives. Like, all the characters sucked, which is such an interesting thing to say. Like, I don't know if I've ever read a book where I didn't like at least one character. I didn't like any of these characters. All had major flaws and faults. I just couldn't. I will say, though, this was a page turner. It was a really, really fast read. I was super curious because of the way that they had like set it up where everyone looked guilty. I wanted to keep reading because I wanted to know who actually did it, and I wanted to know more details. But it was kind of slow. Like, the reading was quick, but the story itself I felt like was slow and kind of drawn out, and just like short snippets of little things. Like, I don't know. It was kind of weird. Anyway, I gave it 3 stars. Probably wouldn't read it again, but I'm not mad that I did read it. All right, and that's that. Those are the books that I read. I read 4 books. They were pretty good. I had 1 5-star, 2 4s, and a 3. Not too shabby. What was your favorite book that you read in August? Let me know. I'd absolutely love to hear from you guys. Anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!